Greetings. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host, and this is Community Focus. Today, we're very fortunate to have with us an exemplary person, Alderman Valerie DeVost, Third Ward Alderman for the city of North Chicago. Good morning, Alderman DeVost.
Well, good morning, Mr. Brooks.
We're very happy that you've taken time for your busy schedule to be with us, to let Lake County know who you are. You're well known in North Chicago, but now Lake County is approximately 800,000 people, I guess, and the listening audience is about 40,000 on the AM side and really about 350 to 400,000 on the FM side. I don't know how many up at 5 a.m. in the morning to listen to this program, but it's probably more than I think, right?
Could be.
I want to start off by having you tell our listening audience a little bit about your personal and professional background.
Well, starting with my personal background, I was born and raised in the beautiful city of North Chicago.
Okay.
I am one of 13 children.
Wow.
My proud parents, Reverend Arthur DeVost and Catherine DeVost. I am the sixth of 13.
Okay.
I went on to graduate from North Chicago Community High School. And I won't tell you what year.
Okay.
But the year that I graduated was an awesome year. We had, I think our number of graduates were close to a little 400 and over.
Wow.
Yeah, very, very great year to graduate from North Chicago Community High School.
Well, North Chicago High School, if I remember, when I came to this area, they were walking or getting transportation to Waukegan High School because there was no North Chicago Community High School. In 1954, the first students entered, and the first graduates were 1955.
That is correct. I did a little research as well, Dr. Brooks. You are right.
And I interviewed several of the first graduates on the TV programs. Very interesting. But tell us the importance of family. We're going to talk about family, church, and the community, and how important education in your life, because we're going to see if North Chicago can be turned around. But to turn it around, family is so important. And you mentioned about you're 6 of 13 children in your family, so I'm sure that you know how important family is.
Family is extremely important. They're your backbone.
Okay.
The family is there to give you the moral, spiritual support that's needed when going through challenges in life. So the family is very, very important, plays a very important key role even in a community that helps bond and keep a community together. Now, I heard you bring up church. Mm-hmm. Church being your spiritual home is important because I feel everybody needs to be able to tap into the spiritual realm in their life. When you're going through a struggling time in your life, you know, with that spiritual input in your life, that helps you to be able to go further and to meet the challenges in your spiritual realm.
Well, no one knows better than you because your father is a minister, right?
My father is a minister, yes. Since the 60s, my
Wow.
father has been a minister, yes.
Wow, this is fantastic.
Very inspirational person in my life.
You also been greatly involved in the community. Even before you became alderman, you were involved in the community, right?
Yes.
And you know how important community life is all about.
Yes, community involvement is so, so important. When you have compassion and when your desire and your love is for your community, you give of yourself. And sometimes that means leaving a little bit of you out to give more to the community. Mm-hmm. So I've been very, very, very active in the community.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, we're talking with Alderman Valerie DeVost. She's a Third Ward Alderman in the great city of North Chicago. She's been talking a little bit about herself, and we tell us about how important family, church, and the community is important. Now, Alderman DeVost, you cannot have community without unity, right? Unity is a end of the word community. How important is unity?
You know, Dr. Brooks, since I've been on the council since 2005,
okay,
I've learned just how important unity is. I know right now we're going through a very, very struggling time in our community, and the decisions that are made today is going to affect our tomorrow.
Okay.
So having unity, even though you can agree to disagree, but we still have to find the boundaries to overcome and focus on the challenges in our community. So unity is so, so important for us in North Chicago, because we're working to strive to move our community forward. And to move it forward, you've got to work as a team. And unity is one very important part of working together as a team. You've got to unite together so that you can move in a forceful manner to make things happen to overcome the challenges that we face today.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And lastly, education. And we said students are learners today, but they're leaders tomorrow. So we can tie education right into that, because without education, then the students are going to have a very difficult in their lifetime. Right?
That's correct. Dr. Brooks, you know what? October of 2006, I started a North Chicago reading program for those children who were struggling, not only in reading, but in math and spelling. In every area, we focused on children with the challenges that they had when it came to their education. We started this reading program in October of 2006.
Okay.
We had officers who were involved. They came in and volunteered their time to sit down one-on-one with a lot of the students that we brought in. These children that we brought into this program were from a high crime area, and I'm not for sure if you've heard about Broadway, but everybody knows Broadway in North Chicago was a very, very high crime area. We had parents with children who lived in that area who were very, very afraid for their children. And we say that it was kind of a poverty-stricken area. So we gathered all those children around this area, brought them into this program where we had at the Living Waters Church on 20th Street.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And those children, in that 1 year's time, you could see how they progressed, strongly progressed at almost 30% higher than where they were before we brought them into the program.
Wow.
So it does help. Our children today, how we teach them and lead them will be how they lead in the future.
Now, there's a connection, too, with your being Alderman in your ward and education, because we say they're learners today and leaders tomorrow, and they are looking at you as a role model on a council to maybe one day they will sit in the seat when you get ready to pass the torch on to them, right? Because you're not going to carry the torch forever, but you're going to. So on the council, you have to be concerned about the youth in the community, right?
That is so true, Dr. Brooks, and I know that how we conduct ourselves does affect what our children see. So in order for us to produce good leaders, we must be good leaders. And unity is one. Making good, strong, sound decisions is another. Leading is a skill. It's where you have to take risks. You have to be ready for the bad times in order to make the good times. So our children are watching us, so therefore we have to be able to have a strong balance, a positive balance in what they see in us, so that they can follow what we do and even go farther and beyond and do better.
Another thing is taught too is character, and they're looking at cooperation, and how you work together, because no person is an island.
That's true.
Right? And they're watching you to see how well you cooperate and how you work together to get a job done.
Learning to work together and make good, sound decisions is very, very important. And sometimes as leaders, Dr. Brooks, because we are human, we err to make mistakes. But being able to identify those mistakes and move forward is what's important. And I know sometimes, and I'm speaking from the heart, when you have such a strong passion and a love and a desire for something, you work hard at it, and it kind of puts you kind of in a frustrating position when you see things that can be avoided that are not being avoided. It kind of brings a little damper on your spirit and your heart, because you want to see a strong movement in your community, a growing movement in the community. And when you don't see that, when you see that there's a lack of that, it kind of puts a damper on your spirit. But you're right. We still must learn how to work together as a team to show the leadership skills in us so that our children can see this and learn from it and be a part of that.
Let's take a look at leadership. Is it a born characteristics, or do you learn leadership? Or maybe it's a combination of both.
True. Being a leader, Dr. Brooks, is more than just being a leader. You lead by example.
Okay.
Being a leader, you are put in the position to make hard, strong, sound decisions. And without having a skillful leader, the community will suffer even in good times. So we've got to learn how to overcome potential challenges in our community. Leaders must gear up to incorporate the readiness to make hard decisions. We must know who our key stakeholders are, who's the citizens in the community. A leader leads by example. A leader is a person others want to follow. Leaders never give up. And you work hard to find a potential door to open with that vision and direction to make your community better. I feel this is what a leader is.
Okay, and in the scripture, I know you came from a religious family. In the born again is a term I'm sure you heard many times. And a person born again, they have to change, have to live right, to talk differently, and even walk differently, because you're that role model. You're the one that people look up to. And if you set an example, if you don't set the example, then there's chaos. Another one is thinking out of the box too. I'm sure that you're more than just reactive. You got to be proactive too, as a leader too. You just cannot sit back. So something has to change. And that's when I wonder whether it's taught or whether it's innate. of what do you characterize as thinking out of the box? How important that is?
You know, Dr. Brooks, in me, I've always been a leader. First of all, from a little kid, I've never followed other kids, and my parents will tell you this. I've always been the leader.
Okay.
My brothers always followed me, so I was always a leader in my group with my family. My brothers were much younger than myself. And me being the baby girl, they all followed everything that I did. So I had to be careful, because sometimes as a child, you think as a child, I didn't always do the right thing. And my brothers would get in trouble because they would follow me. But the thing about being born again, Dr. Brooks, I like that issue that you just brought up. Being born again means you leave out the bad that has happened in your life. Okay. And you make a new change in your life. You're right. It's about changing who you are. You're thinking, you're walking, you're talking. You become a changed person. God allows us all to be able to be born again and to change from the way we used to be. We all, yes, are sinners, but we do have the strength and the inner power spiritually to be able to change ourselves.
Importance of grace and mercy.
That's right. Amen.
Because we're all a sinners,
That's right.
saved by.
That's right.
But tell us now, what piqued your interest in politics?
Ooh, okay. There were a lot of reasons why. Some of the reasons that I got involved in being a public servant. I'm not a politician. I prefer the word public servant because I like to serve the community. Okay. What impacted my life to steer toward becoming an elected official was the ward that I lived in was kind of being neglected. We had many, many concerns, and the concerns were brought to, at that time, the person who we had put in that position. But a lot of things weren't done, and I just could not sit back and hear some of the cries and the concerns of the people in the Third Ward, because I don't know if you know, but the Third Ward was one of the worst wards when it came to a high crime area. We had it all. We had the gangs, we had the violence, we had the shootings, we had everything you can think of was basically centered around the Third Ward.
So more than just Broadway then, right?
Much more than Broadway. I had youth at that time. My children were very young, and I was really afraid for the life of my children in that community because of all the ongoing criminal issues that were going on. So it compelled me to work hard and to go out door to door to talk to the people and ask them what they wanted to see in our ward. And I got back so many concerns, and we did try to address them. But moving on from that, it impacted my life to give my life as a servant to the people in the ward.
Now, is the duties now of an alderman?
You're asking me?
Yes.
Okay. The duties of an alderman or an elected official is to serve your district, serve the people in the district.
Okay. Now, you're one of 7, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
I'm the 3rd alderman, and there are 7 aldermen.
So actually, it's you're concerned primarily about your ward, but you're also concerned about the city as a whole, too.
That is correct, Dr. Brooks. I am concerned about our community as a whole because the 3rd ward, whatever happens in the 3rd ward affects the whole community.
Okay.
High crime affects the whole city. It's not just one district or one area. What happens in my ward is going to affect and have a triple-down effect on every single ward in that community. So the whole community is my concern.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, we're talking with Alderman Valerie DeVost. She's an alderman of the 3rd Ward in the city of North Chicago. Alderman DeVost, acceptance of a woman as an alderman. I know our first experience we had was a female for mayor, and she felt that they didn't give her all the respect as because she was a woman. The reason that she had some challenging times. What about your as an alderman? Have you been accepted by the male components on the council?
Good question, Dr. Brooks. You know, I think on the council we all work together as a team. We do have our differences on certain or various issues, but I think we all give each other respect. I think that's the most important word, is respecting each other. Even after we agree to disagree, we have to know how to go back and respect each other. And your views are not always going to be the same as mine, but I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to give you that respect. And does it mean that your issues are not important? They are important. But we have to learn how to still sit down and come up with a unity, come up with a sustainable solution that's going to work for the community. So sometimes, Dr. Brooks, it's leaving us out and thinking about the most important need in our community. And that's not only economic development, that's a sustainable community, that's the education of our children, although it's a separate entity. All of these things impact what our community is today. So I do get how could I say this? I do get some disagreement with the aldermen as they get a little disagreement with me, but we all still work together. At the end of the day, we work together to find a solution. So we agree on certain issues, we disagree on certain issues, and that's okay. That's what being leaders is about. We're not all made the same. We're not all thinking the same. That's why you have 7 people sitting there, so we can listen to each other's ideas and thoughts and what their decisions are. That's what make our community a better community.
So we have a right to agree, but we may be disagreeable. How we say this, we agree disagreeably, but we still going to agree.
That's right.
Although we come to, each one got their own ideas and so forth, but we come up with the most flexible idea too. Because we're thinking about, we're there to serve the citizens of the city of North Chicago. Well, we probably need a part two because there's a lot of other things I'd like to talk with you about, but I can't let you leave here without, you have a great, concerning thinking out of the box. You have a great idea, and that's recognizing families, North Chicago. But tell us about thinking out of the box. How did you come up with this idea?
Well, I'm glad you brought this up, Dr. Brooks. So because of everything that is transpiring in our community today, with a lot of these issues and complaints from the citizens in the community, I'm feeling that the inspiration and the spirit in our community and the morale has just dropped to almost the lowest point where it can go.
Even though we only have about 35,000 in the city, and I guess Great Lakes, gee whiz, because they incorporated about 20,000, so we're only about, we could be about 18,000, 15 to 18,000. And we still have that morale problem?
And Dr. Brooks, even with that low number of citizens, it doesn't matter the number. The impact is what matters. Whether it's a negative or positive impact, that's what matters in a community. If that community is not sustainable, if the decisions aren't made to gear around the community, you're going to have what we have today. But going back to why I prayed and asked God to give me something that would uplift and inspire our community and bring back what we used to have. I know we can't go back to yesteryear, but in fact we can go back to the positive part of yesteryear to make our tomorrow a better tomorrow. So it was brought to me that what can be done is start an event. And this event is called the North Chicago Family Ties event. It's a twofold event where we're going to be acknowledging all the families who made North Chicago their home in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s.
Wow.
These families were the backbone of our community. They built this city. So we want to bring these families back, whether they've moved out of the community or they're still a part of the community. We want to honor them. September 8th, which is a Saturday, we're going to take that time to honor these families and let them know how much we love them, we acknowledge them, we appreciate them, and that we thank them for building our community in those years. So this is a twofold event. It's a parade that starts at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And then at 5 o'clock, we're going to have our dinner where we're going to honor the families. I'm giving contact phone numbers. We're just asking everyone that can be a part. Also, go online. You can visit us online, www.ilovenorthchicago.com. You can go in and view that website. It gives you all the information you need about this event, where it's going to be honoring all those families. So please, we encourage you to be a part of the parade. Come out. We'll give you your number to come into the parade. And we're talking bring back and dress up in the 30s fashion, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. It's going to be an awesome, exciting event.
Now, how are you contacting these families?
Wow.
Well, I know this is one of the ways.
This is one way. Media attention is one way. We're getting the word out there, word of mouth. We're doing flyers. We have the media, the News Sun. We're asking the News Sun to be a part. Every place that we can think of, whichever way we can think of, we're contacting families to contact their families and their families. Also, we're going to be giving T-shirts, selling T-shirts for $10. It'll be North Chicago Family Ties T-shirts.
Okay.
Also, the most important event, a part of this event is we're making family history books. If you want your family to be a part of the history-making event and to be put in the history book, please contact, I can give contact numbers.
Yes.
1-224-730-8570.
You might give that again. I might get the 1-224.
224-730-8570.
Okay.
It's my contact number. I'm only asking for pictures and a little bio of your family and what happened in that year that your family came to North Chicago. Every family is going to be dedicated a page of this history book, something that has never, ever, ever been done in history before in North Chicago. So we're encouraging you to be a part of it.
This is fantastic. Now, again, this is going to be September 8th, and hopefully it doesn't rain. Have you got a rain date? Or
We have not, because it's so far away.
And you have a tent, too.
We will have a tent at the end of the parade. The parade is going to start at 17th Street in North Chicago behind the North Chicago Bank. And it will end at the Falls Park District open field. We're going to have fun for the children. That morning is going to be dedicated for our children and the families.
Oh, okay.
We're also going to have a little brunch Friday. The brunch will be at the high school in the cafeteria.
And I understand that you have people coming from out of town, too, that's looking forward to this. Matter of fact, I have a friend, people may know him, named Joe Blow, William McKinley Blow, that's living in Inglewood, California, and he's already set aside his vacation around that date.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so he comes here each year, but he's going to set it the date, his time of vacation around that date. So I'm sure there'll be others, too, that come from out of town.
That is so true. About 2 weeks ago, I was in Manhattan, California, and I met a family there, a young lady by the name of Leslie. Her mother and father met in North Chicago. Her father was in the Navy. Her mother and father met in North Chicago in the 30s. They were married in North Chicago.
Okay.
And she and her family did say that they would be at the event. So I'm so excited.
Yeah, I know you've been meeting quite a few months then, right? Because it takes a lot of planning for this, and you have an outstanding committee.
We have a wonderful committee. I mean, every member on this committee is so viable, so important. Their roles and what they do is so important. It has impacted such a strong, positive enforcement in this event. We've been planning this since February. And I'll tell you, I'm so happy and honored and thrilled to have each and every one of these members on the board, because they play such a strong, viable part in this event. Without them, this could never happen.
I know a lot of places for the banquets considered out of the city, but the committee felt that it definitely should be within the city limits.
That is true.
And so it's finally decided to where's the location?
The event is going to be held at the North Chicago Falls Park Golf Course.
Okay.
On Argonne Drive.
Okay. And for the, you have cooperation, you have a tent just in case that it rains and so forth. You have the banquet hall, which would be accommodate about 300 people?
That is correct. Well, I think the number they gave us is 250 people.
Okay.
So we're saying 200, maybe just a little bit more, but I think the range is 250 people, according to the information that was given to our coordinator that handles that.
Well, we wish you a lot of success. And in addition to your automatic activities, this is outside of your automatic activities. It's because you are more concerned about the families that have made history way back in the 40s and 30s. Well, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And those of you listen to the program, be sure to call for more information, 1-224-730-8570. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Community Focus. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks, Sr., your host.